All right, the circus has moved. We are here again for the fall 2019 Pitch Pub Crawl. All right, so at Bricks, we had Clara Bio, The Guy Experience, and Dynamics. And the winner, by crowd voting, Clara Bio. Clara Bio's moved on, and will get named right here. All right, here we go.
I'm Jason Harper with Helix Health. To those of you just trying to enjoy your dinner, I'm sorry. They did say keep your pitch so that a 5-year-old can understand it. So hopefully you'll have to let me know afterwards how I do. So the holidays are a time for giving. We give food, we give toys for tots, you give shelter and warmth, but you don't really think about how those things impact a person's health. But the reality is they do. When you put $1 in a Salvation Army kettle, in an indirect way, it does contribute to a person's health because of something we in the industry call social determinants of health. So things like food and transportation and education, those are a big deal for people, especially those with chronic illnesses. So statistically speaking, 1 out of 8 of people in this room have diabetes. That's 300 million Americans. It's a huge problem. My brother has it. My wife's parents have it. 30 million Americans have it. Excuse me. Thank you. And then out of those 30 million, 50% are not compliant. They're not managing their care properly. And a result of that, they are going to die 10 years earlier. And why does that happen? It happens because of those social determinants more often than not, because it's not about access to insurance or having a doctor, because many people below the poverty line have that. It's about having good food to eat instead of fast food. It's about having a job so that you don't have to make a choice between your co-pays and presents for your children at Christmas, which is a choice no parent should have to make. And those are things that happen outside of the world of hospitals and clinics. And at Helix Health, that is the world that we are looking at, because if you consider that whole population and how you can influence things like those social determinants, then really interesting things begin to happen. And to tell you about that, our CEO and founder, Anurag.
So, at Helix Health, we believe one thing, which is that everyone deserves good health, period. Jason talked about access and social determinants. Access is a problem, but that's not what we're trying to solve. Access to transportation, access to good food, access to your doctor, access to insurance, access to a good job for money. Those are all things that lead to someone's health. But it's actually a mismatch of when that happens in the time frame of when you're sick as a chronic patient. That's the problem. So Spotify has figured out how to build a playlist for the songs that you want to listen to. Amazon figures out how to predict a product that you would care to buy. Maps, or Google Maps, figured out a way to get me here around the exit on 71 so I'd make it here on time. We expect these things in all of our lives, but where is it in healthcare? That's what Helix Health does. So we use data that already exists in healthcare, both on the hospital side and on the insurance side, and we do fancy big data analytics on it to help predict in a population who's at risk, why, and what a doctor could do to change that. Doesn't always have to be a doctor, but we build out those recommendations. So in a sense, we're a recommendation engine for chronic care patients in hospitals. How that really looks is that we partner with both hospitals and insurance companies to look at their entire population and then decide am I over? Okay. And decide the top 20 patients that they would want to make an intervention on, and how to do it and why it's financially feasible for them to do it. And then we build another 20 and another 20 and another 20 so that they can go after that market or go after their population that they don't usually. So this is a way for doctors to think about those patients that don't show up in their clinic, that they don't know what is going on between visits and that are falling through the cracks. So in conclusion, we want you to keep giving to all the charities that you guys give with, to make a difference, to fight for those that can't. And we at Helix are going to fight and build out our technology to make those patients or those same people healthier by building a better matchmaking system for them. Please support us through a vote, and if you have any questions, I'm welcome to answer them now. So we don't look for necessarily So the question was, do we look at disparate or siloed data across the system and build out a better way of matching that data? We don't technically do that. That's not the end result. We're looking at a mismatch of resources. So when someone needs intervention, for example, better medication or diabetic education or nutritional help at the right time. So in a perfect system, everyone should get everything at the right time. But we don't have enough resources for that. So we build out a way to do that with the limited resources that we do have. Our paying customer would be an insurance company or a hospital system, not the patient. We are live. We have customers today and patients on our platform.
All right. One more question. Any more questions?
Where do you find the patients?
We don't find, so the question was, where do we find the patients? We don't find the patients directly. We partner with hospitals that already have patient populations or insurance companies that cover patients on a plan. Our third sales channel would be an employer base that cares about their own employees that have covered lives.
All right. Interog and Jason, thank you. Helix Health. All right, Delvin, you're up.
We live in a world where I can order this package off of Amazon and it's at my doorstep in 2 days, travels across thousands of miles, multiple modes of transport, probably multiple drivers, and yet I can see it every step of the way and have a seamless experience from purchase to payment. So why couldn't I send one truckload of one product with one driver just 150 miles and have anywhere near the same experience? My name is Delvin Higginson, and that's a question that I used to ask myself nearly every day in my former career as a commodities trader, where I scheduled tens of thousands of truckloads and rail cars of bulk commodities. And it's why I founded Relay. Like a relay race hands off a baton, we want to seamlessly hand off supply chain information for bulk commodities. But what is a bulk commodity? You guys might be asking. So everything from the concrete below on the foundation of this building to the grain and the beer that you're drinking tonight has raw products. And those raw products are the foundation of everything around us. There are 300 million truckloads of those raw products shipped around every year. And the problem is that unlike an Amazon shipment, the only thing that it has in common is the paper package, where the truck tickets, which the drivers receive at the origin, are shipped amongst every player of the supply chain. That truck ticket is the foundational accounting document for all of the rest of accounting, from invoice to inventory reconciliation to payment. And the difference in a truckload of Amazon packages and a truckload of bulk commodities is we don't know how much is on the truckload until after it's loaded. But yet our system is full of manual paper processes, redundant siloed accounting systems, and manual data entry. So our platform is a collaborative platform that connects everybody in the supply chain and allows them to contribute their part to the truckload shipment from the time it's ordered to the time it's delivered to a customer. We digitize not only an image of the document, but more importantly, the data on it, so we can sort, query, analyze, and dashboard those shipments, and then automatically import them into accounting systems and eliminate the manual redundant data entry throughout the whole system. We expect that we can save our customers about 50% on their accounting costs and take their time to invoice from more than 2 weeks down to less than 2 days. And speaking of our customers, there's no better place in the United States that I can think of than right here in Kansas City to found this solution, where the founding of our economy was built on the trade and shipment of these bulk raw products, particularly in agriculture. And many of these companies still exist here today. such as large grain companies or propane and natural gas liquids companies like where I worked. What we can, sorry. We expect that currently we're in MVP mode where we're starting with 2 small customers who are a shipper and a carrier. They will give us MVP feedback and become beta pilot partners, paid beta pilot partners within the next month. And then we'll launch into a larger shippers like the people that I used to work for. The ultimate vision is much larger, where we go from trade to paid throughout the whole platform on an end-to-end solution. But in order to get there, we're going to need a lot of investment dollars, which is why we're seeking a pre-seed round and angel investment right now. And I'm also going to need more tech talent. And so if anybody out there is connected to either investors or a potential technical co-founder who can lead the product development into the next phase, please come see me afterwards. And now I'll open it to questions. Investment mostly. What do I need now? The angel investment to carry the product into the next round, since I'm not a coder and can't build it myself. That has to either be hired none or a founding technical co-founder to help take that process along and make it more efficient. I have the connections to almost every commodity trading company to sell it, but getting the product developed and refined to the stage where it's ready to scale is the most important part right now. What's that? The biggest point of pain that my software is solving? I would say the redundant manual data entry, where they get, one grain company has 9 people that do nothing but take these packets apart and enter in 150 truck tickets a day into their accounting system. And so if you multiply that by everybody in the supply chain doing the same thing, the cost is pretty high to process all of those invoices. Great question. Am I providing the tracking information for the customers? And the answer is there will at first be status updates, and just like you would an Amazon package, to where the driver will say, I'm at the origin, I'm en route to the destination, I'm delivered. So supply chain visibility is a key value proposition to my customers for sure. In the future, we would include an actual map to where you could see exactly where that truck is based on the mobile device with the driver. One more question.
Yeah, shoot away, Jackie.
Great question. She asked, is my technology integrating with blockchain? And the answer is a long one, but I'll try to provide it short. In the short term, no. In the long term, I absolutely believe blockchain was built to solve problems exactly like this, where multiple players need access to the exact same data. There are a whole lot of physical reasons as to why it will be a while before it gets adopted into bulk commodities. For instance, like blending. If I take a truckload of corn, one from the field, and dump it in with 50 other truckloads at a grain elevator, is that a new product? How do we track an actual kernel of corn? And the answer is you can't quite yet. But I think we will get there, and so that's a foundational tenet to build into. I'll plug into it later, in other words.
Delvin, thank you. With relay trade. So he'll be number 2. All right, here we go.
My name is Jaquan Heron, and this is 2923 Comics. I started my comic book company as a dedication to my grandparents who passed away 3 years ago. My grandmother just didn't wake up one morning, and my grandfather died of brain cancer. But the reason why I'm here today is my comic book series, The Scarlet Knight, Defender of the Block. It's about 2 cousins who return to their hometown to be ER doctors, but they stumble upon a magic gem that makes them knights in the modern day time. But this gem also makes other people get certain powers and creates what I would call a medieval chaos. All the main characters in my book basically deal with a moral dilemma. If you had the power to hurt those who've hurt you, would you do so? And I also wanted to show the world the abuse of power in underserved communities, which is where I'm from. This storyline is also based on my brother and I, how we were raised in the same household with the same ethics and the same morals, but went to totally different places in life. My brother is currently serving 9 years in a federal penitentiary. I'm hoping that my comic book can change that, change some of these people in these neighborhoods. I sold 1,000 copies in year 1. I'm located in 5 stores locally, 2 in St. Louis, 1 in Vegas, all by my own. One-man team. The reason why I'm here today is to be funded so I can create Kansas City's first independent animated short of a comic book. And I'm in the same hometown that Walt Disney worked, and I always ask myself, why not me? Why can't I be next? So that's 2923 Comics, and thank you for listening. Any questions?
Comics have always been fantastic until a certain period. So that golden silver age, anybody could read. Comic books today, you can't hand them to a kid. These are going to be.
So pretty much what I've been doing, and speaking of that, that's good. I've spoken at.
Repeat the question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the target market?
My target market right now is actually, I can just tell you how I've sold them. Because in year 1, I didn't really have my business in order because I wasn't realizing that I was selling. But now I'm realizing that my age range is young adults. So they're ranging usually between 13 and 17. So I guess children, I'm trying to say. And what's really stopping the market now is animation, movies, and the comic book series. We're not getting people to read, but what I've been doing is I've been going to the local schools here and speaking and showing them how easy it is to create a comic book. I created a comic book through a smartphone, and I tell kids this all the time. It's not there just to study or get on Facebook and get on social media. I literally created my comic book through a smartphone. No, and what's cool about that is, let's talk about the smartphone. So I did not create the comic books. I contracted 2 artists. My letterer and my colorer in Indonesia, and I found them through Fiverr. I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar here with that. And then I also found my artist, my illustrator, through Instagram. I hashtagged comic book artists, and I went through thousands of artists, like literally thousands of artists. Took me about a week and a half to find my artist. When I contacted Peterson, out of the other 10 that I contacted, Peterson was the only one that organically said, "When are you ready to work?" And then I just knew it was organic. That's who was the guy I need to go with.
Thank you. Thank you. There we go. All right. 2923 Comics. All right. So, Vanna, come on up with the ugly holiday sweater. And there we go. Maybe it isn't ugly. Maybe people like light beer. All right. Conrad, here at Conrad's, number 1, Helix Health. Okay. So circle number 1 for Helix Health if you want them. Relay Trade. Circle number 2 if you want Relay Trade. Or number 3, 2923 Comic. And we are headed to Arcade Alley. This is our longest walk to go. I know, it's a whole 2.5 blocks